With the loss of Appa, everything changes. Aang completely loses his shit over this. Toph is meek at being unable to save him, and being stuck in a place where the sand makes seeing with their feet almost impossible. The ease with which they got into the library is now gone, taken for granted, and now they realize they're trapped in the desert. And Sokka drinks juice out of a strange cactus to try to stay hydrated.
Drink cactus juice. It'll quench you. Nothing's quenchier. It's the quenchiest.
Well, you know, if only those hippies from before would come back and start playing, I bet Sokka would finally appreciate it now. This is where Katara takes charge, keeping everything running smoothly since Sokka's high, Toph's down, and Aang's on a hair trigger. It's safe to say that without her leadership, the team would probably all die out here. Although in Sokka's case, it'd probably be die happy. They find a lost sandbender ship and eventually wind up with a tribe of them wondering how they got it. But the son of the head dude is the one who stole Appa, so Aang starts destroying their ships until they reveal what happened. But he's gone, and Aang enters the Avatar state in his rage. But Katara manages to calm him in the end, and without a word, showing the connection that has grown between the two of them. During this, Iroh and Zuko are still on the run from the Fire Nation, and we discover why he was so keen on replacing the White Lotus tile that was misplaced in water, because he uses it to make contact with a fellow in the same bar from last episode, revealing that Iroh is a high-ranking member of a secret society known as the White Lotus. Like Team Avatar, they're going to head to Ba Sing Se, the Earth Kingdom capital, where they can blend in with the refugees. This takes us to the Serpent's Pass, where they're part of a ferry of refugees crossing the sea to get to the city, and where they come across Jet, that messed up freedom fighter that Katara had swooned over until he nearly drowned a village. Zuko's sick of the life of a refugee, still full of pride and disgruntled with the way that he must live to survive, so when Jet suggests they steal the food from the captain rather than eating the crap they've been stuck with, he's in. After that, he seems to think that Zuko would make a good addition to the team, but discovering that Iroh, after making a big show of how cold his tea was, is suddenly drinking hot tea, he realizes they're both firebenders. Uh-oh. The team has made it to the same port where they run into Suki from Kyoshi Island. When they were investigating the case for Mayor Tong, they learned that the warriors had headed off to fight in the war. It seems that they are meant stuck doing guard duty under a snooty bureaucrat. It's another reference that Earth Kingdom is China. In pre-revolution days, it was famous for its bureaucracy. And that's a problem because
Someone took all of our belongings. Our passports, our tickets. Everything's gone.
That's why you don't carry cash. Only Earth Nation Express traveler's checks. Don't leave a Mashu without them. Without that, the bureaucrat lady refuses to let them on the ferry, so Aang decides that they'll lead them through the deadly Serpent's Pass. Aang's entered a kind of state of emptiness to deal with his grief over Appa, so he won't slip into the Avatar state again. While Sokka's having trouble coping with his feelings for Suki, he's overprotective of her because of what happened to the princess, and then he finds he can't show his affection for her when she tries to kiss him. But after battling the sea serpent the pass is named for, and reaching the other side, the lady they're escorting has her baby. Of course. And after that, Aang realizes that he was just running away from his feelings and heads off after Appa ahead of the group. Suki also saves Toph from drowning, and upon learning that she came to actually protect Sokka rather than the other way around, Sokka's finally able to show Suki how much he cares for her.
I'm really sorry about last night. We were talking and saying things. I just got carried away, and before I knew it,
An enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough for this restless warrior just to be with you. And can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are.
Well, that is one way to breach the unbreachable wall. The drill is naturally about dealing with this gigantic drill. No time for looking for Appa, no time to talk to the king about the plan, no time even for Sokka to deal with Suki returning to her guard duty. Oh, poor Sokka. Finding his love and losing her again is tough. It just seems like every little thing reminds him of her. Can't figure out why. They manage to thwart the drill, which penetrates the wall, but is unable to actually deliver troops through to the other side, and this despite Azula and her crew trying to stop them. Clearly they've earned the right to enter the City of Walls and Secrets, the next episode. Ba Sing Se seems wonderful at first. It has a railway system using earthbending, and the architecture is beautiful. But as so often happens, this belies the rotten elements within. The city is walled within as well to keep the undesirables away from the well-off. Earth has dirtied up the world a bit more than it was in water. While there had been the occasional exception, generally it was the Fire Nation was bad and everyone else was good. They weren't perfect, but they were basically good overall. Now that we're spending more time in the Earth Kingdom, we're seeing more and more insidious things. Whether it's the villagers wanting to boil Aang alive, the sandbenders who steal Appa and try to blame our heroes for wrongdoing, the bounty hunters after Toph, and that's not counting people like Toph's father or the general from the Avatar state who basically have good intentions but are doing bad things. Ba Sing Se, the heart of the Earth Kingdom, is likewise the heart of this corruption, having an Orwellian feel to it that's complete with Judy, their handler, who seems like she's a robot programmed to be happy. As I said before, Star Wars was also an influence on this series, and Earth follows a similar idea to The Empire Strikes Back. The first act leads up to a great battle, the second act is training and the journey, and the final is set in this beautiful city that harbors a dark secret. There's more, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. It's going to take a month to get to see the Earth King, so they start looking for Appa, but Judy keeps discouraging people from helping with a grin and a shake of her head. They know better than to cross the Dai Li, the keepers of their traditions and head of generalized naughty things. Our heroes start to learn about that from their neighbor, but when your life is dodging attacks by the Fire Nations, worrying that the cultural minister might not like you is a low priority. So they decide to sneak into a royal shindig in order to meet with the king, a plan requiring great cunning, careful execution. Yeah, they're found out. Long Feng, the head of the Dai Li, finally has them taken aside to explain that the king doesn't have time for the minutia, and that the city's order is only maintained by the belief that there is no war. We see this maintained when Jet finally snaps and attacks Zuko and Iroh in public to try to get them to firebend, but he's arrested and the Dai Li brainwash him to make him forget all about that. And our heroes learn of the lengths that they'll go to when Judy is replaced with another girl just like her, also named Judy, implying something sinister happened to the first one for allowing them to get in here. We have a bit of an intermission with the next episode, Tales of Ba Sing Se, a chance for our characters to kind of chill out for once. The most notable story is Iroh's for two reasons. First, for its tearjerker closing of Iroh celebrating his dead son's birthday, singing the song Little Soldier Boy that he had used to cheer up a child in the market. But you could see that he probably had sung it a lot of times to cheer up his own son, and now it takes on an entirely different meaning as he sings for his son's makeshift grave here.
Tiny shells drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home.
The other notable thing is that this was dedicated to Mako, as he died of cancer. A few of his lines throughout Earth were performed by Iroh's new voice, Greg Baldwin, who does a pretty impressive impersonation of Mako and would handle all of his roles in Fire.
Come marching home, brave soldier boy, comes marching home.
The only thing relevant is the end of Momo's tale, where he finds Appa's footprint, setting up for the following episode where we learn what happened to him finally in Appa's Lost Days, or what I personally call it, Appa and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Because suffice to say, the poor Sky Bison goes through a lot of shit, until finally he's starved, dehydrated, traumatized, and filled with giant porcupine boar spines, and I'm not sure, but I believe he's being audited. His luck turns around briefly when Suki and the Kyoshi warriors find him. Oh, for God's sakes, I'm the last of my kind. Can I not catch a frickin' break here? Yes, that's Azula, Mai, and Ty Lee, and they have no quarrel with the Kyoshi warriors, but Azula decides to attack anyone on general principle of being crazy. We don't know how the fight ends. It cuts away as Appa is forced to flee, finding the remains of one of the air temples, but it's not empty. Santa Gandhi is waiting for Aang because a vision told him to come here. He helps Appa and ties a message to his horn for Aang and sends him to Ba Sing Se, where he hears the bison whistle. Finally, things are looking... This is the kind of guy Harry Kim feels sorry for.